I'm very excited. In my head, I would get up here and slam dance on the table. That's how excited I am about this Dick Wolf partnership and the show that we have coming, Crime in America. It's going to be great. I don't like to do a whole lot of talking. I like to get to the work. So let's just let the work speak for itself.
Oh, hey, Chatterboxx.
Joe Budden has officially entered the true crime space with his new YouTube and Patreon series, Crime in America. Now, that Law and Order sound we keep hearing in the BTS footage is starting to make a little more sense. The first episode dropped and it covered 3 lesser-known cases involving a kidnapping, a Facebook dispute that turned deadly, and a man who has spent more than 3 decades on Alabama's death row, even though the recent evidence pointed to a neighbor. So Joe is not simply retelling the same nationally known cases we've already seen covered 100 times. He is using his platform to bring attention to people and stories that may not have received the coverage that it deserved, and I can respect that part of the vision. But, there's always a but. When the first episode dropped, the reviews came in and they did not hold back. Some of y'all did not believe in easing him into this new venture. Joe said he hadn't seen the reviews yet.
I saw Crime in America last night.
Now you want to bring the shade to me?
Since you want to blame.
Came out in the morning.
Yeah.
He came out in the morning, man.
How you think it went?
Yo, Mark is a piece of shit, bro.
And then he take his little sip of coffee.
What's the reviews?
I think it went absolutely great. I haven't seen any reviews. I'm really excited about it. I was up all night. It looked great.
I gotta tell you,
New show energy. Excited. Excited.
Y'all get a chance to
What's
check it
there
out
for me
yet?
to say?
Yeah, of course.
I thought all jokes aside, I thought it was a really strong first episode. I thought you were good, and I thought the content was good.
And I agree to a point, but I also think I'm coming from the lens of knowing what it takes to edit and put together a video. So I can't imagine trying to do a whole show. Of course, with anything, it has room for improvement. And I can see that happening with Joe. But with the comments and the Reddit, the YouTube, the Patreon, they were not holding back. When the true crime people and the JBP verse people got together, oh my goodness. Now, I do agree with some of the points, with the B-roll and the reading from the teleprompter. There were certain things, like a lot of people were being ruthless in the comments. One viewer described the show as Joe reading a book, then showing us the picture before he flipped to the next page. Meanwhile, another commenter said, "There's no way you think that episode was any good. You definitely self-assessed, right? What are you looking to improve?" They further go on to say, relatedly, what makes you entertaining is the unscripted humor, and you've literally picked the hardest content, crime, and scripted medium to churn out this podcast. Who set you up to fail? Have you fired them yet? And they continue on. Now, see, that was shady. You didn't have to do all that. Another viewer said 5% B-roll, 95% Joe's face. And that was the most common criticism, that the show needed more visual storytelling, more B-roll. People didn't necessarily dislike Joe's voice or the cases. They just wanted to feel probably more immersed in the stories. And as a matter of fact, I don't recall any of the people that he was talking about, their pictures being shown other than the little girl and one other person. I have to go back and watch it again. One thing I came to realize reading through some of the comments is that a lot of viewers really underestimate how difficult it is to produce a video, let alone a show around cases with sensitive information and little to no documents. And then you have to consider licensing. Even for something like this video, you may be watching an 8 to 10 minute video by the time I'm done, when this video started out as a 20, maybe even 40-minute video that took me all day to execute. Some of my videos, a lot of my videos take me 12, 13, 14 hours. And I will say, finding useful footage is not as easy as it looks, because I experimented with more documentary style storytelling when I saw the tide turning with the JBP verse. So there's a lot of factors at play, including footage from public records and telling the story with visuals without misrepresenting the story. And you could always use AI, but AI gets a little weird. Like, take, for example, the photos. This could not be AI at all. This is just speculation. But what's going on with his hand? The tattoos and his thumb, what's happening here? And I show that just to make the point that when you're dealing with true crime and very sensitive information, there's victims, open cases. You want to be careful when using AI because it can easily change something you don't intend to change with using it to recreate scenes or reenactments. So I understand. I like the project. I like where this could be going, and especially giving space to cases that may have happened in some of our neck of the woods that you may want some more eyes on it. You want justice for it or connecting the dots and what happened to those cases. With a well known case, you may have years of photographs, interviews, court appearances, interrogations, even archived coverage. But with a lesser known case, like the one with the man that I think it was the last case where he was on death row for 30 years, you may have a photograph or two, an old article, and a newspaper clipping if you are lucky. The kind of B-roll I can see being used where there isn't case-specific footage, we could see Joe standing at a corkboard connecting the different pieces of the story or even moving around the room toward objects that correspond with what he is discussing. Obviously, nothing that would get the show flagged, but if, like he mentioned, Facebook, cut to an over-the-shoulder shot of someone scrolling on a laptop. If he describes the neighborhood, show the streets, the landmarks, I think they did that, or maybe even a map where something happened. We see several JBP team members who are involved too. Ian and Joe executive produced, Key produced, Erickson and Poe co-directed, and Parks handled the on-location audio. And I think that is a crucial thing to note, that the crew is splitting their time between these projects, between this and the JBP. Another viewer also offered a constructive suggestion, and they said either lift the teleprompter up by 15 to 20% or lower the camera so it's not so obvious that Joe is reading.
The bad guy gets theirs, and the good guy gets justice.
He's probably home right now, like how to read a teleprompter and look good. Now, that viewer still ended the comment by celebrating Joe and encouraging him to keep going. So, with all these critiques of the first episode, I don't think it means that everyone wants the project to fail. It just seems like the true crime audience or even the JBP audience watching this content wanted the presentation to match and to learn a bit more about who he was telling the story about. Somebody else in the comments said, ask Flip for some Tubi level actors that can do the reenactments. See, I play way too much. There was definitely a lot of shots of Joe.
That read more like a private journal than a public record. He referred to Melvin as, quote, a very ignorant individual.
After watching the episode a couple times, I understand why people wanted more visuals. Watching Joe read from the teleprompter with his eyes locked on the camera while the camera is switching between very familiar podcast angles.
Every week, we're going past the headlines to understand what happened, who was affected, and why it matters. Today, we're going to start with a couple of cases that you probably don't know about, but should.
It did feel more like a filmed narration, like an audiobook, more than what we're probably familiar with true crime series. So those angles may work on the JBP because we're trying to follow the conversation. We want to see who's reacting, who's making faces, much like Mark Lamont Hill was and taking a sip of his coffee when he brought up the show. With true crime, though, it's not the same formula. Even talking to people off mic, they were frustrated with the first episode of the show, much like a lot of the comments. But I think over time, they're going to get it right. And the show is going to evolve as time goes. And we know with Joe Budden, he has said that he has wanted to do this for a very long time. Like, he is an avid true crime watcher. So I think we need to give it space to grow, because with every project, you're going to watch it and you're going to see, okay, I want to make this change here. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I would bet he's sitting back, maybe even with a team, and applying this method that he had talked about on the show a while back. And it was something that I even implement with the things that I do.
Being able to watch yourself, hear yourself, study yourself in ways that you never have can always be revealing.
It's a mirror.
Yeah, it could always be. Yeah. And it's always helpful. It's always helpful. Actually, hold up.
You must video record a 5-minute video of yourself. It can't be planned, it can't be rehearsed, it has to be impromptu. The first time you review it, this is called an auditory review. Turn the sound all the way up, press play, turn it around. Just listen. And
yeah, content creator, just for y'all out there, just for your advice.
How's my volume? Is there emotion in my voice? Am I pausing? Take notes, build self-awareness. Next, this is called a visual review. This time put it on mute. Press play. Just look at yourself.
That's it.
This is an extremely excruciating process. I can see some of your faces.
It hurts.
Because when you do this,
I did this on Love and Hip Hop.
That's not how I look. That's not how I sound. It's how you look and sound. It's how others are perceiving you. You go through this process once, it changes how you come across. And then the final way, get the video transcribed. And then you get a red highlighter, like the times you failed in school. Sorry, that's my story. And then you just highlight all of your non-words and all of your filler words. Become extremely aware of the words that are robbing you of credibility and robbing you of authority.
That's deep.
That's helpful.
Salute.
So I can just imagine what Joe and his team are going through over there after the first episode drop and doing their own inside review if he is still implementing that method. So I like the concept so far, and we'll see where it goes over time. Joe will probably get more comfortable with the teleprompter. You know, the team will make their adjustments. And with a lot of this stuff, I know as someone, like I said, coming from a different lens where I'm creating these videos and I'm trying to give you guys as many visuals as possible, and it is very hard. So my honest opinion, crime in America, it's got a strong foundation. Joe's got a recognizable voice. He's got his audience in the door to his Patreon, to the YouTube, and he's got a real interest in true crime and an opportunity to bring attention to overlooked cases. So over time, I think we're going to see more polished product. But let me know what you think, Chatterboxx fam. Were the reviews too harsh, or did the audience offer feedback the team needed to hear? And what constructive change would you offer for future episodes? Or maybe even go over there and comment a case that you would like to see. Drop your thoughts below and let's talk about it in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. Share with a friend. And you can become a supporter if you enjoy rocking with yours truly, Chatterboxx. Until next time.